Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point. And I am here today to give you guys a recap of the last 2 days of testimony in the United States versus Kelly McDavid and Brown. And then after that, I am trying desperately to get these transcripts read, but I've had a lot of company over the past week, and it's like every time I find a moment and I'm able to start a video, either somebody stops by or somebody calls. So now it's just me in this house, okay? So I am going to try and do as much as I can over the weekend. So hold tight and we will be back with this recap. Okay, so I know everybody is anxious to hear about Rishonna's testimony if you haven't already heard the transcript readings. And so I will get those to you this weekend. But for the last 2 days, we have been dealing with these criminals, who was trying to sell this videotape and claiming that, it was just a lot. Okay, that was going on. So first I am going to start off with an article. I believe this was in the Chicago Tribune. And it says, Kelly's ex faces barrage of barbed questions from singer's attorney in her second day on the stand. Child, they had Lisa Van Allen so frazzled. That sister girl didn't want to come to court. She didn't want to come back with Jennifer Bongine. She didn't want to be there. She knew what was about to happen. And I actually didn't think I really needed transcripts for Bongine cross-examining Lisa Van Allen because, the tweets that the reporters were putting out, it seemed like it wasn't that bad. But then they also talked about she had Lisa up there crying and carrying on. So I am going to get the transcripts for that. And so we can read along and see exactly what went down. But in any event, Lisa Van Allen said that Kelly filmed threesomes with her and Rishonna, a claim she made in testimony in the singer's 2008 trial, and the Surviving Lies docu-lies, okay? And so this article is actually by Andy Grimm and John Seidel. So I think it's the Chicago Sun-Times. So it says Kelly walks with supporters. Oh, no, that was a picture. Let me take that out of there. I thought I had cleared all this stuff out. Where they were talking about the, anyway, they were describing a picture of him leaving the courthouse as his followers, his supporters were there rooting him on. And I might have that picture and drop it in for you guys. It says prosecution witness Lisa Van Allen, the ex-girlfriend of Kelly, who has been among his most visible critics for years, wept on the witness stand Friday during a flurry of barbed questions from Kelly's lawyer. Van Allen sobbed as she responded to a heated line of questioning from Kelly's attorney, Jennifer Bongine, who took Kelly's one-time girlfriend to task when Van Allen said she was testifying for the benefit of Rishonna. She was standing strong in the sisterhood for victims, okay? So they say that the pseudonym used in court for the woman who said, well, y'all know in court, Rishonna is going by Jane, even though everybody know who she is. So they're explaining that that's why she was being referred to by Van Allen as Jane. Okay, so the person who you abuse, that's who you're here for, Bongine said, a query she repeated several times as Van Allen struggled to respond. Her voice breaking amid sobs, Van Allen defended herself. I'm not. I'm not proud of it, Van Allen said, grabbing tissues nearby. I am here to admit my wrongdoing and to hold him accountable for what he's done. So you can sit there and try to make me the bad guy all you want. But I'm up here admitting that. So then Van Allen's emotions got the best of her. Bonjean told her, let me know when you have composed yourself. And then waited impatiently by the courtroom lectern for Van Allen to recover. They said Jennifer Bonjean had her arms folded across her chest like, girl, I'm really not here for this foolishness, so I'm going to need you to wrap this up as quickly as possible. So Van Allen's nearly 2 hours sparring with Bonjean came after nearly 4 hours on the stand Thursday, which included combative questioning by lawyers of Kelly's co-defendant and former business manager Daryl McDavid. Prosecutors on Friday morning said Van Allen told them after leaving the stand on Thursday that she didn't want to come back to court for a second day and that she had to be picked up by agents before court Friday morning to make sure she arrived. Lisa, if you had any common sense, girl, you would have jumped on the first plane out of Chicago. But no, you stayed there. Does she live in Chicago, y'all? Or is she in Atlanta? Anyway, child, they went and got her butt and brought her back to court today so she could finish. So when Bonjean asked about her reluctance to return to the stand in front of the jurors, Van Allen said she meant only that she didn't want to return, not that she wouldn't return. She was just saying, like, dang, I won't go back there. Y'all know how when you go to the new school and you can't make no friends on the first day and you be all sad and thinking everybody don't like you, and then you be like, I don't want to go back tomorrow. And then you go back to school and then that one person say hi and they be nice to you. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so that's what Lisa said was going on. She said she was coming. Like, they didn't have to send them agents to come and get her, dang it. She was going to be there. Okay, so let me see what else Lisa was talking about. Let's see. So not wanting to come and not coming are two different things, Van Allen replied, because y'all know she got a flip mouth. Van Allen also testified at Kelly's first trial in 2008, a proceeding prosecutors in his current trial say was tainted by witness tampering by Kelly that included a $250,000 bounty offered to Van Allen to recover a videotape she had stolen from him while the two were dating and allegedly showed Kelly abusing Rashana. So Kelly was ultimately acquitted in the 2008 case. So Kelly's trial in Chicago began August 15th and is expected to last about a month. To stay informed, and then they tell you to, follow these different people on Twitter. So Van Allen met Kelly at a music video shoot in Atlanta when she was 18 and soon after moved to Chicago. And y'all guys know the video was the Home Alone, his music video for Home Alone, which was in November of 1998. And that date is going to be important as they try to establish how old Rashana really was and if the video actually was made in 98, 99, 2000, or 2001. Child, they don't know when this video was made because they don't have the actual video. So in 1998, Kelly invited a girl he allegedly identified as a 16-year-old neighbor to join him and Van Allen to do the do, and that he recorded it. So Van Allen filmed two more encounters with Kelly and Rashana. The name used to identify the girl in court, which is Jane, but we're going to call her, we're going to call a thing, and the thing name is Rashana. So only to find out years later that the girl had been 14, Van Allen testified, but we've learned that was a lie too by Rashana's own admission during her testimony, which I am going to bring to you guys because I do have the transcripts. So around 2000, Van Allen said she found herself alone with a duffel bag of tapes Kelly carried with him while the singer was in a recording studio and searched the bag for tapes of herself. Van Allen wept on the stand as she described what she saw on that tape, which she said showed 3 different sex scenes, including one of her with Kelly and Rashona. Van Allen, she seemed to have had a whole bunch of time. Now, all these people, they say, be in that studio. She had a whole bunch of time to be playing these videos, trying to find the ones that showed her on it. So I thought that was interesting. And so Van Allen, who said she no longer wanted Kelly to be able to watch her on tape, sent the tape to a friend, Keith Murrell, and that Kelly's entourage the following year. So in 2007, as Kelly was awaiting trial in Cook County after a tape that allegedly showed the singer abusing Rashona surfaced, Van Allen said she learned someone was shopping tapes of Kelly. She said the singer called her and she went to see Kelly at his home in Olympia Fields, where he offered her $250,000 to recover the tape. So Kelly allegedly paid her and Murrell around $200,000 in installments after subjecting them to multiple lie detector tests. Van Allen said McDavid, who had allegedly been coordinating the payoffs, told her that he wouldn't pay her more and blamed her for the tape scandal. McDavid also allegedly said they should have murked her from the beginning, said Van Allen, which Van Allen took as a threat on her life, y'all. So she said, I never knew that they were thinking about killing me, she said, breaking down on the witness stand. Okay, Lisa, girl. So before Kelly went to trial in 2008, Van Allen reached out to the Cook County State's Attorney's Office and became a witness for the prosecution. Van Allen was interviewed and figured prominently in the Surviving Lies docu-lies that aired in 2019 and reinvigorated prosecutors' interest in the decades-old allegations of abuse by Kelly. So during a cross-examination that ran nearly 3 hours Thursday, McDavid's lawyer, Bo Brindley, attacked inconsistencies in statements Van Allen has given to law enforcement and her Surviving Lies interviews about what she saw on the tape and whether McDavid was present when she watched it. Now, later in the testimony today, after they finished cross-examining Lisa, I swear the prosecutor got up, the AUSA, I think the Julian guy, Jason Julian, I think he got up and said that Lisa never testified or never spoke in Surviving Lies. Okay, I was so confused by that tweet. So that's why I need the transcript, because I need to see, did he really get up there and say that? So anyway, Brindley suggested that Van Allen stole the tape intending to profit from it and reached out to Kelly ahead of his 2008 trial to shake the singer down. As to the threat to murk Van Allen, Brindley questioned whether McDavid would have been all that intimidating. So Darren McDavid is R. Kelly's accountant. Brindley said, "You didn't have any reason to believe he was some kind of murderous accountant, did you?" And so that was the end of the article, child. So anyway, let's get to these tweets. And once again, I have to give this disclaimer. These tweets are coming from reporters. We have reporters for the Sun-Times, reporters for the Chicago Tribune, reporters for the Associated Press, and a reporter for the Courthouse News. And just keep in mind that these tweets, they are in the overflow room, and so they're just tweeting out, as quickly. They're missing a lot of the testimony. They're giving tweets out of context. They're very biased in their reportings, like you'll find with Megan Crepeau. She will have a whole lot more tweets when the prosecutors are up there, and then she might tweet every 5-10 minutes when the defense is up there. But anyway, this is what we have to go with, because these are the people that are live tweeting that we are following. So she starts out, and remember, this starts yesterday and concludes today. So Van Allen met Rishona, Kelly's goddaughter in 1998. Rishona would have been 14 or 15 at the time, but Kelly told Van Allen that she was 16, according to Van Allen. And so I think Rishona would have been 14. Well, just in 1998, she would have turned 14 in September. So the three of them had an encounter in the log cabin room, which Kelly filmed with a camcorder on a tripod, Van Allen says. So in 1999, the three had another filmed encounter. Van Allen did not want to participate and started crying, she said. So Kelly said, what was he going to do with this? I guess because it wouldn't have been good footage to watch if I'm on there crying. So Kelly would carry around his VHS sex tapes in a duffel bag, Van Allen says. And I still can't get over that. That just... Like, what if he had got stopped by the police, right? In his car, like he had to go, like something happened, he was stopped by the police and the police took the videotapes and watched the videotapes. Like, I just don't understand why he would have been walking around with this duffel bag. Now, somebody had made the comment that, and I believe it was on one of the previous videos, that the duffel bag wasn't full of videotapes, that they were actually his music recordings, because somebody had stole, was it the Love Letter? Was it the Love Letter CD, that Love Letter, the Chocolate Factory, or was it Chocolate Factory? Anyway, one of his, what's the one with Ignition on it? Because I remember reading an article about that, how the remix to Ignition was more popular than the actual song. And like a lot of people don't even know, have never heard the original song. And it was because the CD was stolen and it was leaked. And then he had to go back and redo some stuff. And that's how he came up with the remix. But anyway, so some people think that he was carrying that bag around all the time because that's what he kept his tapes in, his musical tapes, not no doggone porn tapes. But anyway, you could hear them shuffling in the bag when he put it down or carry it or walk with it. Eventually, I went in the bag and saw them. So in the year 2000, Rishona told Van Allen that she would be getting a PT Cruiser for her 16th birthday. So Van Allen was upset since she had been under the impression that Rishona was 16 2 years earlier during their first encounter. And that's important because I guess back then the state statute for, Lord Jesus, what do they call it? To be able to have sex, the legal age of consent was 16, I think, back in the 90s. And now it is 17. So after that, Van Allen says, I didn't want to do any more threesomes. I didn't want to be the first ones, but I didn't want to do the first ones, but I definitely didn't want any more encounters because she was 14. She had to be 14. And then people were saying that Lisa was mad because Rashona was getting that PT Cruiser and R. Kelly hadn't bought her nothing, okay? And that's why she didn't want to do them threesomes no more. So at one point in 2000, Van Allen realized she was alone with the bag full of tapes and went looking for any tapes she was on. Now, she literally would have had to play every tape. And remember, guys, we're talking about VHS tapes. And VHS tapes used to be like 8 hours, 10 hours long, and you could just record. I know my dad used to have a camcorder, and he used to record, a whole bunch of stuff. Like, you may look at one of them videos, and it might have been, when my oldest sister came home from the hospital with my nephew, and then by the time in 19, I can't even think of what year, and then you get to the end of the video and it was something that happened 5 years later, but it's all on the same video. So she said that talking about she was looking for videos with her on it. She would have been spending hours trying to go through all those VHS tapes, trying to find all the ones that contained her. Unless they was on the top, child. She was lucky, and the ones that contained her were all on the top. Or she just knew that he, would record and then, come back again and record on that same tape. And I'm thinking at that point, the tape should have still been in the camcorder. So was the camcorder in the bag, Lisa? See, I think Lisa lying. She's telling some lies. It's not adding up. And hopefully some people on the jury, you know, that once had camcorders and VHS tapes, and they can put all of this into perspective. And so she says, I didn't want them in possession of them. I didn't want him in possession of them. I didn't want to do the threesomes. I didn't want him looking at them or having them in possession. So Van Allen is crying on the stand, describing one of the tapes, which showed Kelly and Rishona together, and then the three of them together. Kelly refers to Rishona as 14-year-old body part. Van Allen says jurors heard that same phrase in different footage last week. And then I've mentioned this in a previous video, like when the videotapes first surfaced and everybody was talking about it and people were buying it at the swap meets and all that. I never heard anybody say anything about this 14-year-old statement. It wasn't until, what's his name? Michael Avenatti came forward with these tapes and took it to CNN that I first heard about the 14-year-old. Now, if y'all heard about it back in 2000 or 2001 when the tape first surfaced, please let me know that it was on the original video, or is this something that they done edit and put on this video? Now, excuse me, I just broke my fingernail, y'all. Yeah, so I thought that was weird. It was something else I was going to point out about that video, but I lost my train of thought. Or it was something that I had said in a previous video and I wanted to correct. Maybe it'll come back to me. So in any event, Van Allen took that tape and gave it to her friend Keith. She says eventually she moved back to Atlanta, though she and Kelly would stay in touch. Years later, in 2007, Van Allen learned the videotape might have been for sale. She did not want it out there and thought Kelly would help her get it back. Really, girl? So he had an upcoming trial for a similar tape, and on this one, it actually said, how old was she? So Van Allen met Kelly at his Olympia Fields mansion, and Kelly said he would give her $250,000 to get the tape back. He also told her to deal with co-defendant Daryl McDavid. From this point forward, she testified. Van Allen and Keith brought the video to Chicago and both took polygraphs. Daryl McDavid watched the video with Van Allen in a hotel room and asked her, was that all of it? She testifies. Van Allen and Keith got $20,000 apiece from McDavid. She says later on, after another round of polygraphs, she got $50,000 and Keith got $80,000. McDavid gave her less because he blamed her for having to make a payout in the first place, she testified. So McDavid later told Van Allen she had failed a third-party polygraph, and he said they should have murked me from the beginning. So Van Allen is audibly emotional as she describes this. After that, at McDavid's behest, she made a false statement to a lawyer denying she ever had any sexual contact with Rishona. He told me to say it, and I was afraid not to do what he asked, she said. She breaks down crying. I never knew they were thinking about killing me. Van Allen said she was upset about that comment and told McDavid she would tell Kelly about it. He said Rob knew everything that was going on, she says in an emotional voice. Then they go on to say court is about to resume with Lisa Van Allen's cross-examination, and then the Megan chick is signing off and she's turning it over to Jason Mesner. And as I've stated before, they rotate. So Jason is in the courtroom, and when they're in the courtroom, they can't pull out their phones, they can't record, they can't, video any of the testimony. They can only write stuff down. But in the overflow room, I guess they can have their phones out and they can tweet. They can't record the testimony, but they can tweet what's going on in the case or write it down, on a notepad. And so now Jason Mesner is up, and this, once again, we're still on yesterday, which was Thursday the 25th. And it says the R. Kelly jury is back, but the witness seems to be missing from the courtroom. Stay tuned. So yesterday there was a hilarious moment where defense attorney Bo Brindley launched into a cross-examination after the lunch break, but no one had noticed that the witness wasn't in the chair. So Van Allen, back on the stand, McDavid's attorney Bo Brindley begins the same way he did with Chuck Freeman, asking if a person who lies is someone who can be trusted. Oh, and let me stick a pin here. So this is the defense. I don't know if I said this in the beginning. This is the defense cross-examining Lisa. This doesn't include when she was on the stand and talking to the prosecutors. Okay, so I'm not giving you that part. I'm just giving you the defense part. So Van Allen, back on the stand, McDavid's attorney, Bo Brindley, begins the same way he did with Chuck Freeman, asking if a person who lies is someone who can be trusted. Depends on the circumstances. Were they threatened, she says. And y'all know the whole while I was reading these tweets, I was reading it with Lisa. Y'all know how Lisa Van Allen does this thing. I think I'm going to try and find a video clip if I can remember by the time I finish reading all this. How Lisa, she bring her tongue out in the corner of her mouth and then she slide it over her, oh God, like slide it over her bottom lip and then go back in her mouth and then she just do it. The whole while she be talking, that's when you know she lying. Because I've seen her talk when she's not doing that. But when she get on Vlad TV and be telling all of lies, that tongue, I just be like, oh my God, girl, knock it off, please. So anyway, a person who feigns emotion while lying to try to manipulate others, is that a person you should trust? Brindley asked. Van Allen says she doesn't know what he's talking about. Like he did with Freeman yesterday, Brindley is confronting Van Allen with discrepancies in her previous statements to law enforcement and a grand jury, mostly about who gave McDavid the video and when and where and when it was watched. Van Allen breaks down, sobbing as Brindley keeps pressing her. He asks her if there is anything particularly sad about asking her about her grand jury testimony. Yes, I'm tired of you asking me whether I watched CP, she says. Brindley audibly scoffs. Brindley asking about Van Allen's book, Surviving the Pied Piper, The Untold Story. Question: this book is for sale for money, right? Most books are. Well, I bought it, so I suppose you got some of my money, right? If you bought the book, thank you. He also brings up the Lifetime docuseries Surviving Lies, asking Van Allen if she demanded money to appear. Why would I demand money to raise awareness? I love doing that. Brindley asked why. If Van Allen's goal was to keep people from seeing the sex tape, she didn't just destroy it after she stole it from Kelly's gym bag. I could have let me lick my lips. I could have if that thought had crossed my mind, she says. Instead, she sent it to a friend in Kansas City. Brindley pointing out, unlike other tapes that the jury has seen, prosecutors do not have the tape that Van Allen claims she stole from Kelly, which is referred to in the indictment as Video 4. We have to rely on your word of what's on it, he says. Brindley is going to show Van Allen a portion from Surviving Lies where she says that when she came across the video with me, him, and the 14-year-old, I watched it, and as I fast forwarded some, I see scenes with just him and her only. Brindley is trying to impeach her on her recollection, but it's a fine line. He now has repeatedly reinforced to the jury that there is a tape of Kelly and Van Allen and the 14-year-old. From the courtroom, Lisa Van Allen is testifying calmly, but appeared to be somewhat nervous, swiveling in her chair and pausing often to sip from a water bottle. Her face grew very somber when she began talking about the threesomes with Rashona. She's looked at Kelly only once, when she was asked to identify him in court. Although the defense said they'd stipulate, Van Allen had already started to point to him at the defense table in a dark suit. She pulled her hand back and gave a little oops expression. In the courtroom, as Lisa Van Allen was testifying through tears that Daryl McDavid told her in 2007 they should have just killed her, McDavid turned to Kelly, who is seated behind him, and shook his head and pursed his lips. It's the most reaction I've seen out of him. So Brindley, so McDavid over there trying to be friends with Kelly. That man ain't trying to be friends with you, got him in all this mess. So Brindley asking Van Allen whether, I think I've picked up on another. Let me see if this is still, I think I may have deleted who is talking here, but anyway, we're going to carry on. I can't remember whose tweets these are. And remember, as I change reporters, I might be repeating the same, some of the same stuff, but sometimes one of them will throw in a little more to what happened, and it's like useful information. So I'm just going through all of it again. So it says, Brindley asking Van Allen whether Kelly called her about the tape or if she called him, and she said she wasn't sure, then added either way. So it's not either way, Brindley says. In fact, it was one way or the other. One thing is true and one thing is not. We are getting to the alleged threat of McDavid after Van Allen failed a polygraph that they should have murked her instead of paying her. He was a business manager, Brindley says. You didn't have any reason to believe that he was some sort of murderous accountant, did you? So Brindley is confronting Van Allen with her Facebook messages with Keith Merle in 2018, where she asks if she ever told him about why she was crying when we meet with Daryl with the tape. So he said, we should have murked you from the beginning. I didn't tell you that, she wrote on the Facebook post with Merle. The problem was, Brindley says, Van Allen previously testified that Merle wasn't even in Chicago when it happened. It was a different meeting. So Brindley, the reason for all of this changing of stories about Mr. McDavid is because the tape that you turned over to the lawyers in Chicago was not really a tape of Rashona and you and Robert. That's why the story is so screwed up, right? And then she said, no, it was a tape of us. And then Brindley, hold on a second. Then Brindley just throwing out statements now. Question, it was a tape of Robert and you and his wife. And that is what this whole thing is about, isn't it? Lisa, definitely not. I've never had any relationship with Drea ever. Okay, girl, that's what you say. So after prosecutors object to a series of questions, Brindley promises the judge he's leading up to his final point. And then, all right, let's go, Lyndon Weber grumbles. Brindley's final points are about Van Allen saying she was 17 when she met Kelly, when she actually had just turned 18. Did she know that being 17 made you a victim of federal CP? And then she said, honestly, I didn't. And then Brindley asked whether, as an 18-year-old, she was aware it was a crime to have sex with Rashona. And Lisa said, that was not something we were thinking of at the time. I know I wasn't. And that's it for Brindley's cross. Brown's attorney had a lightning quick cross. Bonjean will go tomorrow as we adjourn for today. They were thinking about killing me. Lisa Van Allen takes stand in Kelly's trial, and Van Allen told the story of her time as Kelly's girlfriend in the Surviving Lies docu-series or docu-lies. Okay, so that was the conclusion of testimony from yesterday. So now I am going to read another article to you guys before we get into the tweets from today. And so this was an article that was written by Andy Grime and John Seidel. And it was posted yesterday. And wait, let me make sure it's not the same article that I read to you guys in the beginning. Let's see. Okay. So this is a separate one. Okay, so let me get back to where I was. Okay. So it says a woman who says she had multiple threesomes with R&B superstar Kelly and an individual on film in the 1990s told jurors in Kelly's latest trial Thursday that the singer's manager later told her, quote unquote, they should have murked me from the beginning. Maxed by a prosecutor to explain the term murk, and Lisa Van Allen said, kill me. So Kelly manager Daryl McDavid allegedly made the comment in 2007. Immediately afterward, Van Allen said she falsely told a lawyer that she'd never had sexual contact with Roshona, who has been referred to as Jane in the current trial in Chicago. She said she did so at McDavid's direction because she was afraid. Girl. So I never knew that they were thinking about killing me, Van Allen said, breaking down on the witness stand. Kelly's trial in Chicago began August 15th and is expected to last about a month. Here's what you need to stay informed. Van Allen was featured prominently. Was featured prominently in the 2019 Lifetime docu-lies Surviving Lies, where she made similar comments. Now she is a key witness in Kelly's new trial, where Kelly is facing charges of alleged CP, obstruction of justice, and the enticement of individuals into criminal activity. So, dressed in a blue blouse, Van Allen seemed to rarely look in Kelly's direction in the courtroom, looking instead toward the courtroom gallery or pictures on the wall. She took frequent sips from her water bottle. She was matter of fact as she described her first meeting with Kelly in 1998 at a video shoot in Georgia. She said the two wound up having sex in his trailer. Girl, you's a hoe. Okay, Van Allen testified in Kelly's 2008 trial that she was 17 when she first met the singer, and she told jurors on Thursday that's what she told Kelly when they met. But she acknowledged Thursday that she was actually 18 at the time, explaining to a prosecutor that at the time, that's what I thought was the truth. So, girl, you thought you were 17 when you had done turned 18 back in June? Like you had a whole 5 months, girl, to remember that you had aged a year. So she eventually moved to Chicago and continued her relationship with the R&B star, who in 1998 allegedly invited a young girl to join them for a threesome at his Lakeview mansion. Now, if this girl thought she was 17, okay, what did she like? Well, we know she was orphaned or lived in the care of somebody else. And I thought the child was supposed to be in Minnesota at this point, but she done made her way back to Georgia. Shouldn't the jury be sitting there saying, well, dang, if you thought you were 17, then should you have been in high school instead of running around behind this celebrity? Like, that would be my question for all of this. Like, why weren't y'all in school? What were your parents? Like, what was going on? So he said she was his neighbor, according to Van Allen, when she met Roshona. Then U.S. Attorney Jason Julian asked her, did he tell you how old she was? Van Allen says that he said that she was 16. Now, why would Kelly feel the need to tell Lisa Van Allen how old Roshona was? Like, how did that conversation come to be? Because it just don't seem like, unless she looked really young and Lisa said, oh my God, how old is she? And then he told her, but otherwise, why would he just be volunteering that information? especially if he knew she was underage. Why would he volunteer that information to somebody? I guess unless because that was the statute, that was the age back then was 16 for it to be legally able to consent. The age of consent is the word I'm looking for, the term I'm looking for. So 2 years later, Rishona told Van Allen she was going to get a PT Cruiser for her birthday. I was told that she was 16 2 years prior to that, Van Allen said. Kelly allegedly set up a tripod to videotape the encounter with Van Allen and Rishona, who has also testified. Van Allen testified that the second time Kelly asked the teen to join them for sex, that Van Allen wept. He said, what was he going to do with this video? Van Allen said, it wouldn't have been good footage to watch if I'm on there crying. So Van Allen also described, well, let's think about it. If we talking about CP and somebody that's into CP, right? Wouldn't that be a turn on to the people that watch CP? Is that somebody crying? Like, I would think that the purpose, because I don't know, y'all tell me if this is what y'all watching, but I would think that the purpose of doing CP is to demonstrate the dominance over this individual, the frailty, the fragility of this person. Like, I would think that would be the turn on, not for the person to be appearing or acting older. Y'all get what I'm saying? So once again, none of this is adding up for me. So she said, so Van Allen also described the dramatic moment in which she at one point found herself alone with a duffel bag belonging to Kelly. She said it was full of VHS tapes and she went digging through it to find videos of her threesomes, which she said she didn't want to do in the first place. So I was afraid he'd walk in the room before I was finished, Van Allen said. I wasn't supposed to be in the bag. I was sneaking. So Kelly, hold on a second. So Kelly, who is on trial along with Darryl McDavid and ex-assistant Milton June Brown, is accused of a conspiracy to hide the tapes in what allegedly became a successful effort to beat his prosecution. On Wednesday, defense lawyers piled on Charles Freeman, who had testified the singer twice sought his help tracking down these tapes, as investigators in 2001 were probing allegations that Kelly had recorded himself abusing Rishona. The singer allegedly called Freeman and had McDavid and private investigator Jack Palladino arrange for Freeman to collect a tape from a house in Atlanta. And Palladino died last year. And you guys, I'm going to do a separate video on Jack Palladino and then this attorney, Linda Murch. I can't think of her last name, something like that. But anyway, I am going to do a separate video because it's such a coincidence that these two people were both murdered last year. Okay, like in 2021, before the Eastern District of New York trial began, they were both brutally murdered, and it's scary. So Freeman testified that the pair attempted to renege on the $1 million reward, prompting Freeman to sue Kelly in 2002. Despite the lawsuit, Kelly allegedly turned to Freeman again to find another tape. And then he was stupid to come back again. If you didn't get your money the first time, what you came back for the second time? So Van Allen said she stole a tape from Kelly that showed her engaging in acts with the singer and Rishona. She said she then passed the tape on to her friend Keith Murrell, who also is expected to take the stand for the government. So Van Allen said she reached out to Kelly in 2007 about the tape, and Kelly offered her $250,000 for its return, with McDavid to arrange the payment. Lawyers for Kelly have attempted to cast Freeman, Van Allen, and Murrell as opportunists who sought to extort the singer and are certain to question the route the tapes followed to get into the hands of the federal prosecutors. Freeman didn't give his tapes to authorities until 2019, when his lawyer turned them over to law enforcement. And yes, Michael Avenatti is his lawyer. So the defense also has made much of immunity deals the trio struck with federal prosecutors, which will prevent them from being charged for handling CP. And then Kelly, 55, they talk about the New York trial. A guilty verdict in the Chicago trial could take decades more to that sentence. And the singer still faces state charges in Cook County and Minnesota. So now we're going to have today's tweets. And I have Andy Grime. Is this today's or yesterday's? Oh, this might have been yesterday. I'm sorry. So this was when Lisa first came on the stand, I believe. So Andy Grime, now on the stand, Lisa Van Allen. Van Allen penned this New York Times op-ed in February 19th and testified at the 2008 trial. Soon after meeting, she moved to Chicago, where Kelly put her up in a hotel, and she hung out at the recording studio. AUSA Jason Julian is trying to get into Kelly's proclivities and his habit of domineering women in his orbit, but Kelly attorney Jennifer Bungine objects. Soon after meeting, she moved to Chicago, where Kelly put her up in a hotel. Okay, I think this is another article that that this guy wrote. Okay, so where Kelly put her up in a hotel and she hung out at the recording studio. As Julian asked about Kelly, what Kelly did during sex, or if he allowed her to talk to other men in his presence, Bungine objects. She was an adult woman at the time under the law, she said. Van Allen eventually moved to Chicago, where Kelly put her up in a hotel. They frequently had sex. And in 1998, Kelly invited a girl he said was his neighbor. He said she was 16, Van Allen said. Van Allen, Kelly, and the girl had 2 more threesomes that were filmed by Kelly. Years later, the same girl told Van Allen that she would be getting a PT Cruiser for her 16th birthday. I was told that she was 16 2 years prior to that. So Bo Brindley, attorney for Kelly's co-defendant and former manager, is now questioning Lisa. Okay, so now we're on to the tweets. Is now questioning Lisa Van Allen, starting with the usual, pointing out inconsistencies in statements she's given about the case in different forums. Van Allen met Kelly in 1998 on a video shoot in Atlanta. He asked me questions if I had a boyfriend. He asked me how old I was and would my mother let me come to Chicago. She said she was 17, but was actually 18. Not clear why she gave the wrong age, because she's a liar, and that's what liars do. Van Allen eventually moved to Chicago, where Kelly put her up in a hotel. They frequently had sex, and in 1998, Kelly invited Rashona, who he said was his neighbor. He said she was 16, Van Allen said. Van Allen, Kelly, and the girl had 2 more threesomes that were filmed by Kelly. Years later, the same girl told Van Allen that she would be getting a PT Cruiser for her 16th birthday. Then he just keeps repeating himself. I was told that she was 16 2 years prior, like you've said that 3 times. Van Allen said Kelly often carried a duffel bag holding tapes. At some point, she was left alone with the bag while at Kelly's recording studio. She went through the tapes until she found the one of her and Kelly and Rashona. So Van Allen didn't want the tape in my possession and sent it to her friend Keith Merrill, who had lived out of the same Chicago hotel she did while he was part of a band that Kelly was producing. Now, this is my question. If she didn't want the tapes getting out, wouldn't you have just gotten the tapes and burnt the tapes, ripped the tapes up, broke the tapes? Like, if it was so important to you that nobody was ever able to see these tapes, wouldn't you have destroyed the tapes? And, I'm hoping that these are the things that the jury is thinking about as they're listening to this. So Van Allen broke up. Hold on a second. broke up with Kelly in 2001 and moved back to Chicago, or moved back to Atlanta. In 2007, Van Allen learned a copy of the tape was in circulation. She didn't want it out there and reached out to Kelly, who was facing trial over a similar tape. I wanted to give it back to Rob. I felt like he had the most to lose, so he would help us get it back. Van Allen called Kelly, who summoned her to Chicago. They met at his Olympia Fields house. Kelly asked her to strip down and talk in his pool, and the singer offered her $250,000 to recover the tape. He wanted to make sure she wasn't wired. So in the months that followed, Van Allen and Muriel made multiple trips back to Chicago and were questioned about the tape with a polygrapher, each time getting cash from McDavid, despite being told that she'd flunked and it was her fault that they were having to pay hush money. So she's saying that the man continued to pay her even though the polygraph was coming back saying that she was lying? That don't make no sense either. So choking up as she speaks, Van Allen said at a meeting July 2007 that McDavid again blamed her for the tape scandal and told Van Allen she was to blame for the tape scandal and they should have murdered her from the beginning. Brentley is zeroing in on a statement that is crucial for his client about a 2007 meeting where she allegedly watched a sex tape to authenticate it with McDavid. She said today she saw it at a hotel, then again at a meeting at Kelly's lawyer's office. Lisa, they're just lying. So in statements to investigators, in 2009, she omitted a hotel meeting, which would be incriminating for McDavid, whose lawyers have worked hard to point out when he's not been in the room for a key moment and therefore didn't know about the content of tapes or Kelly's relationships. So, wait a minute. In statements to investigators in 2009, Lisa omitted a hotel meeting, which would be incriminating for McDavid because he contends that he don't know what she's talking about. So, pointing out inconsistencies, Brentley asked multiple times Van Allen and McDavid watched CP together. Van Allen chokes up. Is something about your testimony making you sad? And then she said, yes, I'm tired of saying we watch CP. Y'all stop saying that. Okay, so we've had multiple slips by Van Allen and Brentley in the last few minutes of this exchange, where one of the other has used the real name of the alleged victim, who's been going by the pseudonym Jane during the trial, but they keep calling her Rashana because that's her name. So now Brentley is impeaching the witness with her interviews from Surviving Lies, in which she gave a different description of what was on the tape she stole from Kelly's duffel bag of tapes. We're going to see some footage from episode 3. So the inconsistency at issue is, in 2008, she said she hadn't seen a tape of just Kelly and Rashona, only tapes of their threesomes. She's since told investigators and the interviewers from Surviving Lies that the tape she stole showed both the threesomes and Kelly and Rashona. Now, asking about a Rolex. The infamous Rolex thing came up, y'all, that Kelly left behind in Van Allen's hotel room, and which Van Allen kept and gave to someone else. That she just stole the Rolex and gave it away. Oh my God, these people are so stupid. Debating whether that constitutes stealing. Van Allen hedging. Okay, she says you can't steal something that was left. Asked if she stole the tape from Kelly. How can you steal something that you're on? It's just as much mine. I'm on the tape. So let me tell you. So according to Lisa, if you go to a hotel with somebody and they leave their watch, child, any jewelry, any possession, they phone, whatever, they leave in that hotel room. that it is yours, okay? You are free to take it and do with it whatever you want to because you left it, okay? So that's not stealing, y'all. If you take somebody's stuff that don't belong to you and don't give it back to them, that's not stealing, okay? Because they left it there and they should have known not to leave it there. And listen, I had the police show up at my house one day because this little girl said that I had stole her phone. Well, she didn't say I had stole the phone. She said when they did the tracking, it was tracking to my address. And so they wanted to know where their phone was. And I was like, well, I ain't got your phone, baby. And ain't nobody in this house got your phone because my children are adults, okay? And so, child, the mama came and she said, well, we're going to have to call the police. I said, well, you can call whoever you want to, but your daughter's phone ain't in my house. So she said, well, first we want to look around. I said, yeah, because maybe the person, couldn't turn the phone on and they tossed the phone. So, child, they looked around all in the trees and the bushes and the flowers and everything. So then she said, well, I'm just going to have to call the police because, Apple won't replace the phone, unless I file a police report. And the police came and they tracked that phone to the bedroom under a pillow at my neighbor's house. So, Lisa, just because somebody left something, because that girl left her phone on the bench at the rec center, and that boy took her phone and it was still considered stealing, Lisa. Come on, girl. So anyway, Van Allen called Kelly, who summoned her to Chicago. They met at the Olympia Fields house. Kelly asked her to strip down, talk in this pool, and he offered her $250,000 to recover the tape. Okay, so that was the conclusion of yesterday. So now we are on to today. And we start with Megan again, Megan Crepeau. And so she says, day 10 of Kelly's Chicago federal trial is about to begin, and we're expecting further cross-examination of Lisa Van Allen, who also testified at Kelly's 2008 trial and was featured on Surviving Lies. And then she says, I'm in the audio room, and Jason Mesner is in the courtroom. And then once again, the audio room, you can tweet, you can write, whatever, you just can't record. And then in the courtroom, you can only write. You can't use any electronic devices. So her tweets began with, before the jury comes in, prosecutors disclosed that Van Allen did not want to come to court today, and agents had to pick her up and bring her here. She was on the stand for 5 hours yesterday, and cross-examination from Kelly's attorney today probably will be lengthy as well. Kelly's attorney, Jennifer Bongine, starts right off with, I understand you didn't want to join us here this morning. So Van Allen says she wanted to come, but I'm exhausted. Didn't want to come and aren't coming are two different things. So Van Allen has stated that she was 17 when she first met Kelly, but the video where they met was actually filmed when she was 18. Authorities informed her of that before this trial. So Bongine and Van Allen's exchange on this gets so circular and argumentative, Lord have mercy, that the judge makes them move on. Like that man's like, hey, let's move on. Okay. So Van Allen says she's here testifying for Rishona, which Bongine uses as an opening. You're here testifying for the person you claim and admit you abused? Jennifer, girl. Oh, let me stop laughing because y'all say I be laughing. This is a serious matter, and I shouldn't be laughing when I'm reading this stuff to y'all. So let me be serious, okay? So Van Allen breaks down sobbing. I'm not proud of that. I don't know what woman would be proud of that, but I am here to admit to my wrongdoings and to hold him accountable for what he's done. So you can sit here and try to make me the bad guy all you want. And Bongine says Van Allen told federal agents in 2019 that co-defendant Brown helped her get a fake ID to travel, which she wouldn't have needed at age 18. So girl, what are you talking about? So Van Allen says she has no memory of any of that. She don't remember nobody getting her no fake ID to travel. And because I'm thinking she should have had some ID already because she had to fly from Atlanta to Chicago and back to Atlanta, right? Okay. So Bonjean notes that Van Allen got a job as the person Kelly would randomly pick out during concerts to bring on stage and simulate sex with him. She pointedly refers to it as Van Allen being able to use her quote-unquote acting skills. So Bonjean questioning Van Allen about how many threesomes she had with Kelly and where and when and why. So this appears to be a way to get before jurors a statement Van Allen made to federal agents in 2019. She said she participated in the threesomes because she felt bad that Kelly had been molested when he was young. Girl, so you gonna feed into his sex addiction to help him overcome? I'm confused. So now jurors have learned that about Kelly's history without him having to take the stand. Good job, Bonjean. So after a recess, we are on to extensive questioning from Bonjean about a Rolex that Van Allen took after Kelly left it in a hotel room. How much it cost? Who did she give it to? Did they try to pawn it? Van Allen says money was not her motivation in taking the watch Kelly left, and she gave it away. I can't wear a man's Rolex. So Van Allen says circa 2007, she heard that a talk show hosted by Kimora Lee Simmons was interested in buying the tape. Bonjean arguing that this proves that there was never any CP on the tape, because why would the media buy CP? Like, girl. So Bonjean, this doesn't make sense unless it was all about the money, Miss Van Allen. Van Allen. It makes sense to not want a sex tape out there, especially with Rishona. So on redirect examination, prosecutors reading from Van Allen's 2008 testimony to show that she said the same things about the content of this video back then as she said during this trial, an effort to reject claims that the threesome didn't involve Rishona. So very enthusiastic objections from attorneys from both Kelly and McDavid, everyone talking over each other. Judge Lennon Weber, after a while, just tells everybody to move on. Like, I don't even know what y'all arguing about, but let's just keep this going because I'm bored already. I bet that man up there falling asleep, y'all. He probably snoring in the courtroom, picking his nose, all kind of stuff. So prosecutors establishing that Van Allen went public with her story in 2008, long before she had a book deal, long before surviving R. Kelly. So next prosecution witness is Deborah Rosenblatt, who owns a travel agency with a clientele of entertainment figures and athletes. Kelly's Best Productions was a client for nearly 20 years, starting in the 90s, and Rosenblatt dealt with people on Kelly's team, including Milton June Brown and Darryl McDavid, Kelly's co-defendants. Rosenblatt got about 10 minutes on the stand before the judge called a lunch break, and then Megan said, "I'll be in the courtroom with no phone for the afternoon session. Please follow Jason Mesner." And so here we pick up with the tweets for Jason Mesner. And he says, meanwhile, here's our updated story. And he says, after 2 hours of questioning Van Allen, Bonjean told the judge she had nothing further. "Good," Van Allen said loudly, prompting Bonjean to whirl around and say, "Oh." Van Allen gave her a big smile. "Okay, girl." So Lisa out the chain. So I'm back in the Kelly Overflow room and we'll be sending updates. Right now is rather dull testimony from Deborah Rosenblatt, the travel agent for Kelly's Best Productions, who will testify about who was paying for hotels and such and when. Rosenblatt has taken the jury through hotel reservations made by Kelly's team for Lisa Van Allen and Keith Murrell in 2007 when they came to Chicago to take polygraph tests regarding the purported tape. Rosenblatt is done. So the next witness is Jerome Kemp, who had an apprenticeship with Columbia Records in the 1990s. Kemp is being called out of order due to a scheduling issue according to prosecutors. We had heard that another alleged victim was next. So Kemp is here to testify about Tracy, and they say that this is the pseudonym for one of the 5 individuals alleged in the indictment to have been assaulted by Kelly when they were minors. He met Tracy when she was 16 or 17, when she interned at the same record company. Now, this doesn't make any sense. Now, okay, I'm confused because... So I thought that individual number 4 was Tracy Sampson, right? So I was like, well, why are they using a pseudonym when that's her real name? But now I see, and then Jennifer Bongine also said that the person that was individual number 4, she didn't understand, and this was in the motion in limines, that she didn't understand why this individual was using a pseudonym when she had already appeared on this television show, and I want to say it was Dateline. It was one of the NBC talk shows, and she said she had already appeared using her real name. And so I went back, and the 2 people based on the information that Jennifer Bongine had given, the year and the date, the 2 people that were interviewed on that show were Geronda Pace and Tracy Sampson. But now I'm realizing, I think Tracy Sampson, they said was an intern for Epic. But they're saying this person was an intern for Columbia Records. So the Epic and Columbia merge at some point? Let me do a quick Google search to see. Okay, Epic was so the founder of Epic was Columbia Records. So I'm thinking that this is Tracy Sampson. It has to be Tracy Sampson. If it's not Tracy Sampson, y'all let me know in the comments, because I'm confused at this point. So anyway, Kemp is being called out of order because he has a scheduling conflict. And he's here to testify about Tracy, the pseudonym. He met Tracy when she was 16 or 17, when she interned at the same record company. Kemp says he saw Tracy at a basketball game at Hoops Gym in the West Loop, where Kelly was too. He says he didn't see Kelly and Tracy interact that night. On cross-examination, Jennifer Bongine pinning Kemp down on how old she was when he met her in the summer of 1999, and he met Tracy Sampson in 1999. Her birthday is August 1982, so either 16 or 17. So the legal age of consent in Illinois is 17, something Bongine has brought up repeatedly in this trial. So the next witness in the Kelly trial is Keith Murrell, the Kansas City friend of Lisa Van Allen. Murrell is testifying with the same Missouri drawl as Chuck Freeman. He says he was in an R&B group named K-OS, stands for Kansas City Original Sounds, but pronounced chaos. Okay, y'all looked at my K-OS, so it's supposed to be chaos. That's probably why y'all didn't succeed, because most people didn't pick up on that. So in the 1990s, which later became Talent, he met Kelly through Kelly's cousin Blackie. So Murrell says his friend went to Kelly's number from Blackie. I don't understand that. His group called it and it went to voicemail. Okay, I don't know what he's saying. And they sang one of their songs. So they performed on the voicemail. So they got a call back from Kelly's cousin, and later they flew to Chicago to record at Kelly's studio, Chicago Tracks. Murrell says he met Lisa Van Allen at a hotel in downtown Chicago in 2000 or 2001. We became friends and then also became a little closer too. We was knocking boots, okay? So they started having a sexual relationship. Lisa was just okay, I have to remember. I'm going to stop calling Lisa a hoe, because we got to remember that Lisa possibly was a part of a trafficking operation. And we know that she was... I can't remember what happened with her and her parents, but remember she was sent to Minnesota, to live with some relatives. So she's really, really had a rough life, and that's why she is the way that she is. And so we're going to give Lisa a little bit of mercy, child, because she don't know no better. She just been through some things. She ain't had no proper guidance, no proper upbringing, nobody to tell her right from wrong, and then she got caught up with the wrong people. And you would have thought that when she met Kelly, child, that she would have used that opportunity to get out of Atlanta, get out of that trafficking operation she was a part of, and start a new life. But it just, honesty ain't in her. Doing the right thing ain't in her, okay? And she's just a criminal at heart, and so she does criminal things. So anyway, he said they was doing the do, okay? So he says Van Allen was also friends with Kelly. So Muriel says Talent left Kelly's label and he returned to Kansas City. In the early 2000s, Van Allen sent him a videotape to his home, which we still don't understand why she did that if she wasn't up to no good. So she just wanted me to hold it for her, he said. And then they asked him, did you watch it? And he said, well, of course I watched it. They wanted to know, well, how soon did you watch it? He said, right away, as soon as I opened it. Now, she said she was sending it for safekeeping. So one of my friends called me and said, hey, Tracy, I want to send this package to you. I need you to hold on to it, hide it, don't show it to nobody, whatever. I'm not going to open it. Because once I open it, now I'm incriminated. I'm all involved in the mess, right? So why did he even open it to watch it? Like if she said, okay, I'm sending you this tape, I need you to hold on to it. But he should have just put it up in the closet and left it alone. But he watched it. And he said he watched it soon, right away. It was Lisa Robb and another girl having sex. Okay, so Muriel says he showed the video to 4 or 5 of the people. Now he's spreading it around, including probably, I think Chuck Freeman. I showed it to him too, child. So I was excited to have the tape for one, because it was Lisa on there and also Robert Kelly, child. I was cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Boy, them dollar signs was going off in his head because he was like, we about to get paid. Okay, so he said he never considered selling it, but did make copies. Yeah, right, boy. So Muriel said he was stunned in 2007 when McDavid called him and said they knew he had a tape. June Brown later called him and said to bring it to Chicago. Muriel made a copy of about an 8 to 10 minute snippet of the tape to bring, saying, I didn't think they'd know the difference. So after flying to Chicago with the copy of the tape, he met at a downtown hotel with Brown and Daryl. Also, there was Lisa Van Allen, a lie detector guy, and also like a tall guy who searched him, he says. So Muriel says he lied to the polygrapher or polygraph, or however you want to pronounce it, when asked if he made copies of the tape. Why? Because I didn't believe that a lie detector was really true, he said. And did you pass? No, I failed. So Muriel says he came back to Chicago for a second time to turn over the real tape. This time he brought a friend named Patricia. And then asked why. He said, because I knew I was going to come back with a lot of money this time. So asked how Patricia was going to help. He said, I don't know. I just brought her with me. When he gave them the real tape, June Brown told him, I have the golden egg, or something like that. Now, y'all remember the golden egg? That was Michael Avenatti's turn. Did he say the gold? Yeah, did he say the golden egg when he was talking in that Nike transcript? And you know what, I need to pull that Nike transcript to reread to y'all what Michael Avenatti actually said when he was saying, no, I think he might have said we got the golden goose. I think he might have said. But to explain to y'all, because a lot of people be using what Michael Avenatti said out of text, okay? It is not exactly what he was saying or inferring when he made that comment about Kelly and Trump in that Nike deposition. And so I'm going to pull that back up and maybe I'll do a little short video on it. So he handed the tape to McDavid, who arranged for him to take a second lie detector. So Merle said he passed the test this time. McDavid told me thank you, and he shook my hand and gave me a hug, and then he gave me the money also. So Merle said it was a bag with $80,000 in cash. So what, and then I wonder if they have bank records where all this hundreds of thousands of dollars was being withdrawn from the bank and given to these people. Like, can they prove that during the time that this Merle guy was meeting with McDavid, that there was a $80,000 withdrawal from Mr. Kelly's account? And I think they did mention earlier that they had bank records. And that's why we need the transcript, so we can get the full story. So I think they did say that they had bank records to show the withdrawals. And then he says, what did you do with all that cash? And then Merle said, I don't remember. And then Merle says he and Chuck Friedman came to Chicago before Kelly's trial in 2008. He wanted to speak to Kelly because all this time I never got the chance to talk to him about me having the tape and all that stuff. And then the conversation apparently never happened. Okay, so he was meeting with McDavid. He never talked to Kelly, never met with Kelly. So I guess that helps Kelly, right? If he's saying that he never got a chance to talk to him. That's interesting. And so that was it for direct examination for Charles Merle. Brindley is crossing him now. Okay. And so it says Merle is answering rapid fire questions from Brindley, agreeing that he asked Lisa Van Allen to send him the tape because he wanted to see it, and she never told him there was anything improper or illegal on it. Okay, so now he's saying that he asked Lisa to send him the tape, not that Lisa told him she was sending the tape because she needed him to keep it. Oh, Lord. So it looked like a regular threesome to you, right? That's Brindley. And then he said, yeah. So then Brindley asked whether McDavid threatened Merle after he failed the first polygraph. After initially saying no, Merle referenced the mysterious tall guy in the room. And he said, then McDavid said, if I didn't come, okay, so they got a quote. Then referring to McDavid, said, if I did come back, this guy right here would come see me, Merle said. Then Jason says, signs you know it's 4:30 p.m. on a Friday. And then he says, prosecutor, judge, I believe you sustained our objection on this point. And then the judge said, I don't remember, child, because I was asleep, because I am bored half to death. No. He says, I don't remember what the objection was. And then the defense attorney says, I don't either, so let's proceed. And then Brindley is done. It's Bonjean's turn, and she promises just a couple of questions. Bonjean, did Lisa Van Allen tell you that Mr. Kelly's jewelry was worth $100,000? Merle says, I don't recall. And then he says that Van Allen stopped believing me when he tried to tell her that Kelly's diamond cross necklace, so they done stole a Rolex and a necklace, y'all, that Kelly's diamond cross necklace had been seized by the police at a pawn shop in Kansas City. And then he says, week 2 of the trial is in the books, and I will see you on Monday at 10 a.m. And then he says it's time for one of Lennon Weber's martinis, because y'all know that judge say when he get through with these people, he had to go get a drink. So now we're on to Andy Grime, and once again, this was from today, and it says live tweeting from R. Kelly's federal obstruction of justice trial for day 2 of testimony from Lisa Van Allen, a key witness in this trial and Kelly's 2008 prosecution. Sounds as if maybe almost didn't have day 2 of testimony from Lisa Van Allen. AUSA Jason Julian tells Judge Van Allen tells the judge that Van Allen said after court yesterday that she wasn't coming back today. So law enforcement went to pick her up this morning. So Van Allen is here. Van Allen spent most of yesterday on the witness stand, including more than 2 hours of combative cross-examination from Bo Brindley, lawyer for Kelly's co-defendant and former manager Daryl McDavid. Expect more barbed questioning today from Kelly's lawyer, Jennifer Bongine. So Van Allen testified yesterday she met Kelly at 18, though for years she had said she was 17, and moved to Chicago and dated Kelly for years, including filming threesomes with Rishona, who was at the heart of Kelly's 2008 trial. Starting off, Bongine asked Van Allen if she wanted to come to court today. "Oh no," Allen says, adding she's exhausted. She says she was picked up by agents this morning, but only said she didn't want to come. Didn't want to come and not coming are two different things. And see how that changes the context when he's tweeting what happened versus when Megan Crapo, so that's why I keep reading the different versions of how these people are telling the story, because the way they word it can change the whole context of what was going on. So Van Allen for years said that she was 17 when she met Kelly for the first time at a video shoot for Home Alone. Jurors get to watch a snippet of the video that includes Van Allen wearing what she describes as a jumpsuit, catsuit, pantsuit. Dang. So the Home Alone video, and there's nobody else talked about the Home Alone video as much as this guy is. He says was shot in now he's saying September 1998, and I thought I read, or maybe it was released in November 98. But he's saying it was shot in 1998 when Van Allen was 18. Bongine points out that for years, Van Allen has said she was 17 when she met Kelly. So Van Allen only corrected her story in testimony yesterday that she learned from investigators ahead of this trial. So the investigators had to tell that girl, don't get up there talking about you were 17, because some people go prove you wrong. So Van Allen sobbing on the stand after Bongine attacks her statement that she is testifying for Rishona. She and Kelly had several threesomes with back in the late 80s. So Bongine, you mean the person you abused, that's who you're here for? And Van Allen choking out the words around sobs. I'm not proud of it, she says. I'm here to admit to my wrongdoings and hold him accountable. You can sit there and try to make me the bad guy here, but I'm up here admitting that. There's a long pause as Van Allen collects herself, her sobs audible. Cross-examination is hard, but that's how it works, Bongine said, showing no sympathy. So while she was dating Kelly, Van Allen accompanied him on tour and had a job. During the shows, Kelly would pick a female fan out of the audience and bring her on stage to simulate sex acts. Van Allen was always the fan randomly pulled on stage, she testifies. So that was all he had to say. So now we move on to Michael Tarm. And Michael Tarm, I believe he is the one with Court Network News. So he says that the trial has resumed in district court in Chicago. Kelly's ex-girlfriend, Lisa Van Allen, is back on the stand, this time being cross-examined by Kelly's lead attorney, Jennifer Bongine. She was expected on the stand, but she isn't there yet. And then it says Kelly prosecutor told the judge before jurors entered that Kelly's ex-girlfriend Van Allen had apparently not wanted to come to court today, and marshals went to explain the process and to give her a lift in. The prosecutor didn't elaborate. Kelly attorney Jennifer Bongine now cross-examining Van Allen. Kelly's lawyer asked Van Allen about apparently not wanting to come to trial today. Van Allen responded, "I wanted to come, but I am exhausted." And then Bongine said, "Are you saying you didn't indicate you're not coming?" And then Van Allen said, "Didn't want to come and not coming are different things." So see, we get a whole nother context to it, right? Okay, so Kelly's lawyer repeatedly presses Kelly's ex-girlfriend about whether she lied about her age when she first met Kelly in 1998 by telling him she was 17. And she says, "I didn't lie," she responded. And then yesterday, Van Allen confirmed that she was 18 at the time, though she'd been saying she was 17. So when a shaken Lisa Van Allen seems unable to go on, the Kelly judge tells her and the Kelly lawyer questioning her Jennifer Bonjean to calm down. So, with Van Allen still weeping, Bonjean tells the court about the grilling. Cross examination is hard, but that's how it works. When the Kelly lawyer alludes to Van Allen's testimony yesterday that Kelly was a controlling and sometimes abusive boyfriend, Van Allen says it was more emotional abuse than physical. Interesting. Because he was only physical, y'all, let's be honest. He was only physical when she was stealing Rolex watches and $100,000 diamond cross necklaces and videotapes. Okay, that was the only time he was physical, I guess. So Dave Burns, we're going to move on to him. And I can't remember who. Dave Burns might be the guy who's working with the Associated Press and Court TV. Or that might have been Michael Tarm. Anyway, these are some freelancers here. So he says, day 10 of the Kelly federal trial in Chicago about to start. Federal prosecutor Jason Julian is telling presiding judge Harry Leinenweber that Lisa Van Allen was hesitant to come to court today. The agents had contact with her to take her to court, he says. So Van Allen was on the witness stand all yesterday giving very emotional testimony to prosecutors before being subject to a heated, at times confrontational cross-examination by Bo Brindley, defense attorney for Kelly's co-defendant Darren McDavid. Trial beginning now with Kelly's lead defense attorney Jennifer Bonjean beginning her cross-examination of Lisa Van Allen. Bonjean begins by asking Van Allen about her hesitancy to come to court today. Van Allen shoots back with hesitancy is not a refusal to cooperate. Didn't want to come and not coming are two different things, Van Allen says. Bonjean now playing a clip of Kelly's Home Alone music video from 1998, on the set of which Van Allen said she first met Kelly. Van Allen identifies herself as an extra in the video. Van Allen said yesterday she was 18 when she met Kelly, but that she told him she was 17. Van Allen denies lying to Kelly about her age. She says she can't remember what she said, but that it's possible she misremembered the month in which Home Alone was shot. Girl, if you told the man you were 17, it doesn't matter what month it was. You knew how old you was. Oh, Lord have mercy, child. So Van Allen says she doesn't recall telling anyone that Home Alone was shot in 1997, which Bonjean challenges. Bonjean produces a statement Van Allen gave to U.S. attorneys in 2008, in which she says she met Kelly in late 1997. Van Allen said she just misspoke. Bonjean attempting to get Van Allen to admit to abusing Rishona when she was a minor. Van Allen doesn't deny it and breaks down into tears. I'm here to admit my wrongdoings and hold Kelly accountable for what he did. So Bonjean getting into whether Van Allen, oh Lord, getting into whether Van Allen had a legal ID at age 18 for the purpose of traveling to Chicago. Bonjean brings up another interview Van Allen gave to Homeland Security in which she says Kelly's co-defendant Milton Brown obtained an ID for her in order to travel. Van Allen says she doesn't recall the interview, that she used a friend's ID. Correction. This should be assistant states attorneys, not U.S. attorneys. Okay, Van Allen says she doesn't recall telling, well, actually, they are assistant United States attorneys, so you still got it wrong, dude. So Van Allen says she doesn't recall telling anyone that Home Alone was shot in 1997, which Bonjean challenges. Bonjean produces a statement that Van Allen gave to U.S. attorneys in 2008, in which she says she met Kelly in late 1997. Van Allen says she just misspoke. Bonjean claims that Van Allen's recounting of events to investigators in 2008 is off by about a year. When she spoke to the assistant state attorneys, you said the Home Alone video shoot was in 1997, when in fact it was September 1998. Okay, was she talking to the state level investigators or state attorneys, or was she talking to federal attorneys? Like, this person is all over the place who's writing this. I think he was referring to state level attorneys, because was he investigated by the government in 2008? That was at the state level. But anyway, child. Okay, so Bungie claims Van Allen's recounting of events to investigators in 2008 is off by about a year. Okay. So Van Allen denies lying to investigators about when she met Kelly, as she says she based her recollection of events off the weather, child. But she doesn't deny her words in the interview transcript Bungie produced. Bungie getting into Van Allen's willing participation in several of Kelly's tours and music videos. Bungie is playing a snippet of Kelly's video I Wish, in which Van Allen identifies herself braiding Kelly's hair. Bungie continuing Brindley's strategy of trying to poke holes in Van Allen's testimony yesterday, now focusing on the abuse Van Allen said she suffered at Kelly's hands. Bungie asking why Van Allen became close with Keith Murrell when she also said Kelly prevented her from associating with other men. You described to us yesterday that you became quite close to Keith and other members of the talent group, Bungie says. Van Allen rebuts that she became friends with Keith and talent while Kelly was not around, and restates that Kelly both physically and emotionally abused her. Bungie getting into Van Allen's sexual history with Kelly, specifically the alleged threesomes. Van Allen reaffirms her testimony yesterday that she had the threesomes at his request. He said he never had a threesome before and he wanted to have one with me. Now, child, y'all believe this was his first threesome? I don't. Okay, so Bungie bringing up Van Allen's relationship to Rishona now. Van Allen says she can't remember exactly when she met Rishona, but that she believes it was when Kelly allegedly brought them together for their first threesome. Van Allen says that she thought that Rishona was 16 when they met, and that she didn't think it was wrong to have a threesome with her at the time because I had friends that age. Van Allen says she learned that Rishona was 14 during that first encounter 2 years later. Bungie gets to Van Allen's move back to Atlanta after she decided to leave Kelly, as well as her taking an alleged tape from Kelly's duffel bag. Okay, Bungie disputes whether Van Allen was looking for a specific tape featuring herself, Kelly and Rishona, or if she was simply looking for any tape on which she was featured. I do know I wanted a tape with me on it, Van Allen says. Bungie disputes whether Van Allen was looking for a specific tape featuring herself. Okay, maybe I copied that twice because that was the same statement. So Bungie repeating Brindley's strategy yesterday of highlighting discrepancies between Van Allen's testimony yesterday and that she gave to investigators in 2008 regarding whether or not she ever saw scenes featuring only Kelly and Rishona. The transcript of the 2008 Kelly trial reads Van Allen saying, I have never seen a tape with just Robert and Rishona. Only me, Robert, and Rishona. This morning, she said one of the scenes on the tape featured only Robert and Rishona. So at this point, presiding judge Harry Lennon Weber has called for a 15-minute break in the federal trial. Court resuming in Kelly's federal trial in Chicago, lead defense attorney Jennifer Bungie asking Lisa Van Allen about when she sent Kelly's alleged tape to her friend Keith Murrell in Kansas City. Was it before or after she stole Kelly's Rolex? So Van Allen says that she doesn't recall if she told Keith Murrell that Kelly's Rolex watch was worth $100,000, but denies sending it to him. She says she thinks it was Damon Friar, her ex-boyfriend, who tried to sell the watch. Van Allen says she gave Friar the watch. So back to Van Allen getting Kelly's alleged tape to Keith Murrell. Van Allen says she sent it via some kind of parcel service like FedEx, but that she can't remember exactly which one. She also denies giving Charles Freeman any copies of the tape. Similar to defense's questioning of Rishona earlier in the trial, Bonjean is now discussing Van Allen's relationship with Kelly even after she took the alleged tape. So Bonjean brings up that after breaking up with Damon Friar, Van Allen briefly lived with Kelly again and received financial support from him for herself and her daughter. That's right, child. So now into specifics of who had the alleged tape and when. Bonjean asking why Van Allen wanted Kelly after learning a tape had leaked rather than going to law enforcement. Van Allen says she didn't want to get Kelly in trouble, that she still cared for him. So the person you took the video from is now the person whose help you need to get it back from your trusted friend, Bonjean says. Van Allen affirms she's saying she thinks Murrell no longer had the tape as of 2007. So Van Allen adds that she thought Kelly would have the most to lose, which is another reason she sought his help in recovering the alleged tape. So Bonjean accuses Van Allen of trying to get money out of Kelly in recovering the tape. It's all about money. It doesn't make sense unless it's all about money, she says. Van Allen denies, saying she didn't want a tape for herself or a minor out there. Did you tell Murrell if he came to Chicago he would get money? Bonjean asks. Van Allen says that she thinks money was part of her discussion with Murrell, but denies it was her prime motivator. So why discuss it if you weren't motivated by it? So Bonjean asks, when was the last time she contacted Murrell since Kelly's trafficking conviction? And Van Allen says that she isn't sure. So Bonjean now showing the courtroom Facebook messages between Murrell and Van Allen. Bonjean says that they're from October 2008, but also from October 2018. I'm not sure which one is the misstatement. In the messages, Van Allen tells Murrell that Kelly's former manager and current co-defendant Daryl McDavid said he should have murked, or i.e. killed her. Bonjean continuing through the messages between Van Allen and Murrell. Murrell, trying to confirm Van Allen's identity, asked her what happened to Harrah's Casino. Sex was Van Allen's reply. Bonjean also brings up messages mentioning sex acts between the two, which prosecution objects for relevance. Van Allen, through these messages, was trying to get in contact with Charles Freeman, who allegedly found a Kelly tape in Atlanta. Van Allen says she did not trust Freeman because she does not know him enough to trust him. Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, Murrell trying to confirm that Van Allen's identity, asked her what happened at Harrah's Casino, and she said sex, and that was her reply. Bonjean, okay, so who did she have sex with? I thought she had, oh child, I'm confused. Y'all help me out now. Okay, Van Allen, through these messages, because it seemed like when one of the other people was tweeting, it seemed like she had sex with whoever she was talking to. But now it's not so clear in this guy's tweet. So Van Allen, through these messages, was trying to get in contact with Charles Freeman, who allegedly found the tape in Atlanta. Van Allen says she did not trust Freeman because she does not know him enough to trust him. So moving on from the messages, Bonjean now directly accusing Van Allen of trying to extort Kelly for money with a woman named Adelina in 2002. And y'all know that's Beverly. Some people say that's Beverly. So Van Allen scuffs the infamous Beverly. I think that's what Lisa be referring to her as, but she also goes by Cuban bread or Cuban, not Cuban bread, I'm tired, Cuban bird on IG. So, and she swore to God, this Adelina chick swore that she was going to testify in the New York case. She said she was supposed to testify in the 2008 case, but she let Kelly down. And so she said, but she was going to be there at the New York case. And she claimed she was in New York, but for some reason she didn't testify. And so I started wondering, remember when they said that they had somebody that was going to testify about the video that they showed about the Rolex? It was one of the videos they showed about the Rolex, about some other incident. But the person had a panic attack and had to be taken to the hospital. And so people were thinking that that was Lisa Van Allen. But then after I read that IG post, I was like, okay, well, maybe she was the one that had the panic attack, or maybe she just lied. And I don't know, maybe she was there to testify, and because there were other people that were in New York to testify for the defense, and the defense just didn't call them. So, but she said that she was there, she was committed, but then she didn't testify. So anyway, let's see. So prosecutor Jason Julian returning for a brief. Okay, so I didn't finish. A woman named Adelina in 2002. Van Allen scoffs at the suggestion. Why would I do that? With that, Bunjin concludes her cross-examination. So prosecutor Jason Julian returning for a brief redirect questioning of Van Allen. Julian asked if Van Allen had once mistakenly thought the Home Alone video shoot occurred in late 1997, but then later realized it was in fact 1998. Van Allen says yes. Julian, like many attorneys before him, accidentally uses Rishona's real name while questioning Van Allen about their alleged threesome. So reading from Van Allen's testimony in Kelly's 2008 trial, Julian has Van Allen saying that the first thing that occurred when she had her alleged threesomes with Kelly and Rishona was Robert set up his video camera. So defense objects for this line of questioning not being responsive. This wasn't the impeachment. Bunjin says Julian rebuts its responsive. Lennon Weber tells Julian to move things along, as was all mentioned in direct examination. And then Dennis Byron with the Hip Hop Inquirer, he posted on Twitter that Lisa's testimony was in fact impeached, but I haven't read that in any of the reporters' information, so I'm not sure if they impeached her or not at the end of the trial, or if Lennon Weber still has to rule on that. So let's go on down here. It says a lot of lawyer infighting that's hard to follow, ending with Judge Lennon Weber saying, let's move on. Julian moves on to another question about where Van Allen watched the alleged tape with Darren McDavid, citing another investigation report leading up to the 2008 trial. Julian brings up that Van Allen said she saw the alleged tape in a hotel room, corroborating her testimony from yesterday. Defense objects again, which Lennon Weber sustains. So Julian must be lying too. So Julian attacking Brindley's assertion yesterday that Van Allen wanted to be one of Kelly's victims for the clout and money it could bring. Did you have a book deal in 2008? Were you on Surviving Lies in 2008? And Van Allen answers no on both accounts. Okay, so that's where I got a little confused. So when did she write the book? Because they're saying that, because he asked her about the book and about appearing on Surviving Lies, and that she was doing it for money, which she was doing it for money. So why is he up here talking about, did you have a book deal in 2008 and were you on Surviving Lies in 2008? Oh, Lord have mercy. But she was still trying to get money in 2008. She was trying to extort him for money for the videotapes. Like, Julian, what is you talking about? So he concludes his redirect by asking Van Allen if she faked her emotions yesterday to manipulate anyone, And Van Allen denies and is off the stand. So next up on the stand is Deborah Rosenblatt, owner of the travel agency Preferred Travel. The company, Rosenblatt says, specializes in entertainment clients. Rosenblatt says that Kelly's production company, Bass Productions, became one of her clients in 1997, but that the client relationship ended in 2016. Rosenblatt says her company typically uses clients' credit cards to pay for their services. Prosecution going over some boilerplate questions about how Preferred Travel employees fill out the company's credit card authorization form. Before prosecution can get any deeper into questioning Rosenblatt, Judge Lennon Weber calls for an hour lunch break in Kelly's federal trial, and then he says, I'm also going to end my live tweeting of the trial here, but I'll be back at it next week. And then that was the David Bryan guy, or Brain or whatever. So now we have one last reporter, and that is John Sedell, and John Sedell is with the Sun-Times. And so he says, I jumped into the overflow room for the conclusion of the second week of Kelly's trial. Keith Merle is on the witness stand discussing what he did with the tape given to him by Lisa Van Allen. Questioning will resume shortly. Merle earlier explained that he failed a lie detector test about whether he had made many copies of the tape before returning it to Kelly's team. Now Merle says that Kelly business manager Daryl McDavid gave him $20,000 to go home and get the original tape. Merle said the $20,000 for him to know that the rest of the money is here when you return with the original copy. He expected to get $100,000 total. Merle says he doesn't remember what he did with the $20,000, the snippet of the tape he brought to Chicago, or whether he took it back to Kansas City. On a second trip to Chicago, Merle said he brought the original full-length tape along with him. A friend named Patricia came along. I knew I was going to come back with a lot of money this time, Merle said. So I guess Patricia was the bodyguard to make sure he got that money this time. Let's see. So during that visit, Merle says that June Brown told him he had a golden egg. That meant he had the tape, and Merle knew he was about to get some money for it. After Merle passed the lie detector test, he said Daryl McDavid gave him a hug and then gave me the money also. It was $80,000 in cash. Merle testifies he doesn't remember what he did with the $100,000. Merle says he saw other tapes of Kelly having sex with females. One was being sold everywhere on the streets, one on the internet, and one from Charles Freeman, who testified earlier this week. Merle says the video from Freeman showed Kelly and a female having sex in a living room and a bedroom. Asked if he ever went to police about a tape of Kelly, Lisa Van Allen, and another girl, Merle says, I didn't feel I had to. It just looked like a threesome to me. Daryl McDavid attorney Bo Brindley is cross-examining Keith Merle, who has so far agreed that Charles Freeman could be considered a hustler. So Merle also said the tape he received only contained the threesome scene, and that Lisa Van Allen years later told him Kelly had offered $250,000 for it. Merle says that he had promised to bring back the original tape, but came back with a CD instead. Brindley asks whether McDavid threatened him. Merle says that McDavid told him, this guy right here would come see me, referring to another man in the meeting. Merle had previously said there was a tall guy at the meeting who searched him when he got there. Merle says that Lisa Van Allen was crying during that meeting because Merle didn't bring the original tape. Brindley said that she had basically been crying because you weren't going to get paid. Merle agrees. Lisa was about that money. So Brindley asks about a 2018 Facebook Messenger chat shown to jurors earlier today, in which Lisa Van Allen asked Merle about Daryl McDavid threatening her in 2007. Brinley says up until then, there had never been a hint that she'd ever been threatened, and Merle agrees. So Brinley asks Merle about the video shown to him by Freeman of Kelly and another female and whether he'd seen it on the internet. Merle says he has not. Brinley is done with Merle. The judge says anybody want to ask any questions. Kelly attorney Jennifer Bonjean volunteers. And so Merle tells Bonjean that he told Lisa Van Allen that he could, quote unquote, get this tape sold or something like that because she used to get mad when I play like that. Merle agrees he tried to pawn a necklace that belonged to Kelly at Lisa Van Allen's direction. Merle says the police confiscated it. After he told Van Allen, he said Van Allen just stopped believing me as much as she used to. So Bonjean is already finished, and now Merle is being cross-examined by attorney for Milton Brown. Brown's attorney is questioning whether her client was in a lawyer's office when Merle went there for a polygraph, and he says, I don't know. I know when I got there, he was there. I don't have a reason to make that up. Okay, that didn't make no sense, because why did he say I don't know and then say he was there when he got there, so maybe he wasn't there when he left. So AUSA Elizabeth Pozzolo is questioning Merle again regarding a meeting Pozzolo had yesterday with Merle. She says it was to discuss a ruling by the judge. And so Pozzolo says that Brinley opened the door to question about the age of the additional female on the tape with Kelly and Lisa Van Allen by referring to her as a woman, but judge sustains objections from the defense, and the second week of Kelly's trial has come to an end. So guys, that's it for the live tweeting. What do you make of this foolishness? So if you were a jury and you were listening to all these lying, thieving people, just liars, manipulators, hustlers, thieves would stab their mama in the back if they thought they would get some money for it. If you were a jury listening to all that, would you believe any of them? And would it make a difference in you deciding this case? Let me know in the comments, because child, it was a hot mess, and I can't wait to get my hands on the transcript so I can read exactly what was being said in this courtroom. So that's it for me. Go ahead, leave your comment below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye bye.